you had enough polywater intoxicating beverages to begin this episode? Shall we all...
Are you recording now?
Yeah, I am.
Good. Yeah, I have enough poly water here for me. Make it through.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Star Trek. Our reviews continue. We have exited pilot season. We are now full steam ahead with the episodes as they start. And thank you, subs, who have voted for The Naked Now to be our first entrance into the actual series, much to the dismay of Shai here, who was gunning for the man trap. But we'll get there. We will get there. But no, we are carrying on with we are starting again with The Naked Now, the TNG's first or second episode after the pilot, the first episode after the pilot, and yeah, what a way to sort of start your main kind of like, this is going to be our day-to-day episode. Like, this is yeah,
I brought it up briefly during the rewatch, but when I watched this back in the 80s first run, my immediate thought was, I can't believe they're already recycling TOS storyline in the second episode after the pilot. It was really hacky.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to ask you, the elder statesman here, because now that Stars isn't here, I'm the youngin. Yeah, first run. Yeah, not only did they rip it, they name dropped James T. Kirk in the Enterprise within like the first 5 minutes after they come back from the theme. So yeah, that bothered you, did it?
Yeah, even in middle school, right? I had seen Star Trek in syndication, and Naked Time is a famous episode on TOS. So you'd seen it at several times, like watching it after school weekends. So to have it pop up in the second episode, just it seemed like they'd already run out of ideas. Which was not
and
nice.
This was, definitely the thing I noticed, like rewatching it now, is like, this is probably one of the most TOS feeling episodes. I mean, a lot of, we know a lot of season 1 is recycled sort of phase 2 scripts that were written by DC Fontana and Roddenberry back in the day, but this definitely felt in production wise. We had the sickbay had the motion picturesque style blips. We had, like, also you mentioned the massive timpanis and the very classic soundtrack, playing over. Like, if they'd have just swapped the cast and made The Naked Time 2, nothing would have felt awry on this. Fun fact, this was directed by Paul Lynch. Would you like to know what else in Star Trek he's directed?
Leland T. Lynch.
Yes,
Ensign
Lynch. 1100101. No surprise there.
Okay.
QLess, Babel from DS9. Also, and a good one, A Matter of Time, I think, which was a good one. I enjoyed A Matter of Time. This is also written by John D.F. Black, who let's talk about the elephant in the room. This was written by DC Fontana, but she was so outraged by what they did to her script that she said, like, don't include me in the writing credit. So she's credited as J. Michael Bingham. The atrocious rewrites were done by Roddenberry and also John D.F. Black, who also wrote for Justice. So if you've seen Justice, you can see the parallels there with this episode and kind of go, okay, yeah, we know where your brain is. We know where that 80s brain is.
It's funny that Lynch also directed Babel on DS9, because it's basically the exact same episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where, like, some sort of, like, virus is spreading through the station.
Bread! No, we'll get there. Actually, pretty soon.
All right, so
yeah, go on.
I believe Roddenberry did a lot of the crediting, or a lot of the
prolific
so they
rewriter.
They submit the scripts, and then at a certain point, it doesn't matter how hard you push, Roddenberry's going to fix what he wants to with the rest of it. So I think we should play a little game. Was the scene written by Roddenberry or by Fontana? And let's start with what can we start
Wait, do you have answers? Like, do you have actual...
No, I'm just
like
going to make stuff up.
Just guessing.
It shouldn't be too
I pulled a
hard to
fast
guess.
one on you guys last time, so it's, that's kind of my thing now. All right, now, so the episode where, the scene where Yar is infected, and, no, Troy's infected, and Yar goes to confront her, and Yar's like, one of them was infected, the other one's confirmed. This is going great, by the way. And they're
Yar is infected.
They're rubbing expensive silks all over their body. Who do you think wrote that one? Fontana or
I
Roddenberry?
kind of want to say that might be a Fontana one because, like, she's confronting her infected crewmate, and I would imagine the direction of the episode was maybe pushed by Roddenberry, but the actual writing was probably Fontana.
Yeah, there was like that sort of 80s thing of how do I be, professional while also maintaining my femininity. There was a very 80s theme of, women's liberation in the 80s.
There was
Yeah,
definitely
it was colored by the patriarchy, but
Yeah, we had a hashtag fuck the patriarchy discussion before we started this, so this might spill over a little bit. All right, one more since I botched it so hard. Roddenberry or Fontana when Bev takes Picard into his ready room and tells him how much she wants to show him things, but she can't. Is that Roddenberry or Fontana?
I mean, wasn't there the line, like, haven't had the comfort of a man in there? That's, I'm going to say that's Roddenberry.
yeah, I make it Roddenberry, but I have to say, like, Gates McFadden and Patrick Stewart saved that scene for me. So
They kind of saved the episode.
Yeah.
Especially, so Patrick Stewart in this episode, I was getting strong Anson Mount, Elysian Kingdom vibes, where if you're an excellent actor, you'll steal the scene no matter if you're doing drama or comedy. Stewart was really good in this. The little the riding the horse jump as he walks into sick bay, and the way they pivot their head away from each other when they're both drunk. It was like it was nonstop comedy.
yeah. Here's for you cosplayers out there. The next time there's like a Star Trek Las Vegas, all the Picard cosplayers should get together and just do that little horse skip of Picard, like all around, like in lockstep.
That's the I'm walking into someone's room and I'm getting some little skip, isn't that? That's the little leap of excitement. It's like, ooh, I'm in for something here. It's like, no, I found the cure. He's like, damn it, Wesley.
So we're gonna rate this 1 to 10 at the end of the episode, but surely one of the hallmarks of an episode's greatness is how memorable it is. And we had the Picard laugh. We have the fully functional and multiple techniques. We have the correction sir that's blown out, not sucked out. Like, this episode is jam-packed of quotable material for decades. Like, does that not contribute to it being a great episode by some kind of metric?
Well, listen, in 2016, Sci-Fi included this. Sci-Fi, the channel, included this episode in the group of Star Trek franchise episode they felt were commonly disliked but deserved a second chance.
Well, I'd have to agree with that.
Oh, really?
Because even we were saying after the rewatch that we enjoyed watching it.
Did enjoy
it's
it.
So kitschy. It's so kitschy and so TOS-like. The music is so evocative of TOS that it actually it ages better than it showed on the initial viewing.
But it was so full of plot holes. Like, there was just... Why did they not just beam Wesley out of there? Why did they not just, like, use phasers on the rock or shove a torpedo on it or just, manually fire the thrusters or decompress the shuttle bay? That was a tried and tested tactic in the past. Like,
right. Especially in a pandemic world, there's the huge plot hole. Like, why didn't they quarantine them coming back from this ship?
Where was
why
the
aren't they all
decon
covered
gel?
with decon gel? Exactly.
Yeah.
If there was a series that could have used a decon gel scene right at the beginning, it would have been this one. But
go on.
So Data gets drunk. He comes to speaking of plot holes, comes to the bridge. He starts acting drunk. And, Patrick Stewart then is the avatar for the audience. He's like, this makes zero sense. You are not a human. You are a machine. And then Data spews some bullshit about, I have pores, therefore I can get drunk. And it's like, really?
Like,
if you prick me, paraphrasing Merchant.
Yeah. Leak? Yeah, do I not leak?
Paraphrasing Merchant of Venice. See, we're classy. We're paraphrasing Shakespeare.
Yeah, so Shai had it right when we watched it, and he was saying, when your main characters are pointing out the plot holes as you're filming that, maybe you've gone too far. Maybe you should pull it back in.
And it's episode 2. Like, there's not much. Like, you watch this, I can understand why, because you've seen people have seen the old BBS screenshots of people like ragging on TNG, like, this is not my Star Trek, and the similar kind of theories to what people were saying about Discovery in the day. But like, if I'd have watched Encounter at Farpoint and gone to the Naked Now, I might have been feeling the same, like, oh my god, you're doing this for the rest of the series? Like, you need to pull your socks up soon. And I think the next episode's Code of Honor, so no hope there. But
But I get it in the writer's room, like, because anyone who watched any of Spiner's work in the 80s, like on Night Court, or even like on any of his Broadway work, knows that he's like this comic genius. So they really wanted to get Spiner's drunk Data performance in there at any cost.
We also have the appearance of one of our many chief engineers for this season. We get McDougal, Chief Engineer McDougal. Her only appearance. She is she's a Nightmare on Elm Street actress. She's been in a couple of them and a lot of sort of westerns back in the day. She's also a regular face on General Hospital and Days of Our Lives as well. So she's sort of this sort of one appearance on Star Trek. She's actually had a prolific career. Sadly, in 2020, she didn't die. No, worse than that. Sadly, her latest filmed appearance was in a short film with other Nightmare on Elm Street cast called Stop the Nightmare, which was an anti-COVID film alongside Lisa Wilcox, aka Yuta from the Clan Tralesta, who was also a Nightmare on Elm Street thing. So yeah, that was a bit of a moment when I was sort of looking up trivia for the film. But
I just met her son at a Halloween party.
Yeah.
The weekend I caught COVID.
Hang on a minute. There you go. That's what it is.
It's all coming together.
It is. Yeah. Bloody Clan Tralesta, they're striking even now.
I know.
To be fair, I am also anti-COVID. I think it's a bad thing. So, COVID.
I think you meant to say COVID deniers, COVID denial group. But this does start by one of my favorite first season bits of Picard not finding satisfaction with any of his chief engineers. Now, on this rewatch, McDougal's disgust clearly indicates that she just left. She asked for a transfer immediately after this episode.
What's going on this
ship is silly. Exactly.
Who's the next one? It's Argyle, isn't it? There's Argyle, Nis Singh. I can't remember who else there is now.
Yeah, I think Argyle's around when they pull in the Traveler and whatever.
That's the Traveler one. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but she was one of seemingly two characters throughout the episode who weren't affected at all by the polywater virus. You have Riker, who, you would think as a slam dunk, who's going to get horniest in this episode? It's got to be Riker, right? No, he stayed professional the entire time. And then, of course, McDougal, who grew more disgusted as she became infected with the virus.
Right. Well, as I pointed out in the rewatch, like, Riker always exists at that level of horniness.
So Bruce Banner, isn't it? He's like, I'm always horny.
That's right.
He's got a high tolerance. It's like alcohol, When you're horny all the time, you're just not affected.
I do like the moment that, Troy comes up to him and is like, Bill, we have to, profess our love for each other, and he just picks her up, dumps her in sickbay, and walks out. He's like, she's your problem now. Wipes his hands all over Crusher, and then walks out.
Dude, if we ever needed a Sonia Gomez moment where you just wring your hands on someone's shirt front, it should definitely have been this one.
Yes, and since it's all over me.
Yeah. How about let's talk about best and worst moments. Best moment of the episode. Go with you, Shai.
Oh, why am I? I love the scene. Am I stealing your scene, Otto? Did you claim the scene between Picard and Crusher in the ready room? I love the little scene between Patrick Stewart and Crusher, and I think that's really when the show and the writing staff got a sense that, Patrick Stewart's funny. He's not just this stern Shakespearean actor. He's actually got some comedy chops going there. Yeah, so that's my the worst. What's the worst moment? I think it's when they're in sickbay right after the opening credits, and there's been no quarantine after they've discovered this ship of 70 dead people. No quarantine precautions. No stasis field. Nothing. They're just like, come on in. Should I wear gloves? Should I have a mask? No, I'm fine. Fine. No gel.
But, COVID really has changed how how all of us view this kind of stuff. Because if you watch it pre-COVID, that's probably not your first thought is about quarantine and masks and stuff. And now we can't escape it in our daily lives.
Did you see anyone washing their hands? I didn't.
No, I thought this back in the 80s. I was like, why would you just bring them back? It didn't make any sense. Because I had seen this episode. You had seen, yeah, exactly. Aliens out at this point. You've seen this episode on TOS. And you're like, why aren't they? At least in TOS, they had the decency of the idiot removing his glove to scratch something and putting his hand on the thing and getting infected. He was at least in an environmental suit when they first encountered the ship. Here, they're just walking around.
It's the future. They don't fear infection. They have the biofilter. That cures everything. Except when
the
it
biofilter kills everything that we know about.
Yeah.
So that's my worst moment.
That's when you have the kitchen spray eradicates 99% of all diseases. You can't sue the manufacturer at this point because it's that 1%. It's that 1%. There it is. Go on, Otto. How about you? Best and worst.
Yeah. I'll be a basic bitch and take the other Picard and Beverly scene where he goes to sick bay. He does the skip. And then it's so most of this episode, it's so bad it comes back around to being good, where he overacts to the extreme. Oh, that's right. I forgot it. It must be the intoxication. I'm feeling it in my head. And it's like, it's very, Saturday morning type cartoon, like PSA acting. And it's bad, but, those two together have delicious chemistry. And the worst, obviously, like there's no competition. It's Yar talking about 5-year-olds and rape to try to get data as foreplay to get data in the mood, which they then do the deed seconds after that. And it's like...
And who wrote that one? Who wrote that scene?
Oh, that's true. That was probably a Roddenberry. We'll blame him anyways.
Go Roddenberry. Yeah, Roddenberry.
I might actually say it's John D.F. Black, but okay. That's a very Justice line.
So when you look at this old stuff, especially TOS, early season TNG, like there's two kinds of bad. There's the kind of bad that makes you chuckle at how bad it is, and if you're watching with friends, it gets exponentially more hilarious with their comments and stuff. And then there's a kind of bad where you're like, I'd feel bad watching this, like like it makes my stomach turn a little bit, and that's what that scene was. So they have had bits of both in this episode, to be fair. So
how about you, Idol?
I have to go. Best is Geordie staring out in the conference room. I think definitely him staring at space and going talking about wish he could see the setup for insurrection, as you said, Auto, like him sort of feeling Yar's face and sort of saying a little sort of restrained on the sort of the horniest front and more kind of like I wish I could have all these feelings. And that kind of felt more the intent of what DC Fontana wanted for the virus, the more expression of people's wants and desires through their own inabilities, which was a nice moment for Geordie to have a little bit of characterization, and then struck out because Yar just went, actually, what if I slept with Data? Not you.
Yeah, he declares his affection for her there, and then she goes off with Data. Anyway, go on. What's your worst moment then?
I do get Sulu vibes from this because I think more than once Sulu was the guy who like gets infected first. It's either him or Chekhov, and then he's down in sickbay, and we see the progression of the illness. That's Geordie. Yeah. Who Geordie played in this episode, but at least they gave him a little more characters. So. Yeah.
And I think I have to go worst moment is another Yar one, but that's when they basically start the shot on her ass and she's walking through like the engineering. Everyone's just like, getting all like, randy around her, and she just finds a random crewmate. It's not really a kiss, just more presses her face against him in that kind of 80s style of kissing, and then it's just like, this is so bad. Like, this is just, everyone's just gone from 0 to 100 of just like inebriated. Like, drunk people aren't like that. Like, most people are either they start fights or they just fall over and just whatever. But
this comes from a place of experience with Idol.
Yeah, this is very TV drunk. It's like, so everyone's just goes like this, and we just you semi drunk, you know what it's like. Yeah, I would say that's my worst. That would be my worst one. It's just sort of the very kind of, and it was more the very much the kind of focus shot on the arse and then expand out, and it's like, you this is your one chance to like start a series, and you're just gonna go for just the exploitation. Like, it's bad.
Yeah, the position of this episode in the series run is a huge issue to me, and I think it was at the time because. Like Shai said, the people tuning in are going to be Trekkies who have had decades of watching TOS and they're ready, you know, for the next
Right.
adventures. And it's like, episode 2, you're really going to do that
Yeah.
script. So, all right. Give me your heroes of the episode, because this is definitely, everyone had a little bit of something to do in this one. And I will abstain from taking Patrick Stewart in this one. So Idle, you go first and give me your hero of the
I
episode.
mean, Riker's the hero, isn't it? Like, he keeps his cool. Even when he gets the infection, he just kind of goes, oh man, wipes his brow and then just gets on with his job. Like, he's there. So he's kind of the one that's kind of driving. He's like the sane man that kind of can get things done. So I'd say he's definitely like man of the hour. Even like he's presented with Troy on a platter and he just kind of just like goes, no, gonna dump her off and go and do something else. And I've got a job to do. He's focused on it. Like, he was the hero of this episode, definitely.
Are we talking which character is the hero of the episode, or which actor is like?
Sorry, yeah, I meant actor, but you can come at
okay.
come at it from
Sorry.
any angle. Come at it from any angle.
Because for like hero character, I choose McDougal, the chief engineer, because she's actually she's focused and mom angry at everyone the entire time. But in terms of acting, it's Brent Spiner's.
Isn't it?
He's just throwing every pitch possible.
The tractor beam goes down in the engineering, and then she stops at the screen, gives Wesley a stern look, shakes her head, and then goes round. Like, doesn't give him an opportunity to go, to get it back up. But sorry, yeah, Spiner.
I guess I'll go.
Yeah, go on.
I'll go with Gates and Bev then, because she was, of course, saddled with the demeaning female stuff that they're going to throw in there for women of the era. But there's a moment early on, I guess, when she's tending to Geordi in sick bay, and I was thinking, it's a nice contrast to Bones, who they're both like ardent and fervent in their pursuit of a cure and the medical side of thing, and they're very staunch there. But the bedside manner is a complete 180 from Bones. And so, you can tell she cares about Geordi, and she's doing her best to make him comfortable and that sort of thing. And go from that to the comedy side of things. She handled like the scene in the ready room with Patrick Stewart. That was hilarious, if inappropriate. So, and there are a lot of episodes in TNG where she gets nothing to do. So to give her this early on, I think she really ran with it. Did well.
Yeah, and she's glowing in this episode. I think one of her castmates in some interview said, like, when they met her, they were like, Gates McFadden was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen up close. like when they met her on set. But
yeah, she launched a million crushes on redheads for sure.
Literally, that's why she's called Crusher.
She's different.
Is that actually why she's called Crusher, or did you just make that up, Idle?
No, I just made that up. Like,
okay,
yeah, is Crusher is that an American surname? Like, is there anyone else ever called Crusher, or is that just a very strange surname?
Here and there, you might see it. It's not that common, but
isn't she?
It's no Jean-Luc Picard.
Is it an Irish name?
Could be.
It's like Crusher.
Patio Crusher.
Did you know in 2019...
before we offend...
Yeah, in 2019, Screen Rant ranked The Naked Now as the 6th funniest episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. Can you think of 5 funnier ones? Apart from...
So gross.
Like, unintentionally funny? Or...
I don't know, like...
Well, hold on. Do you have the whole list there?
I know I don't, unfortunately, but... I would say A Fistful of Datas is possibly one of the other ones.
I was just thinking, Fistful of Datas got to be one of them.
I can't really think any other funny ones. That would be like...
This one was funny.
It was... Oh god, we've been smiling the entire time talking about it. Like,
the humor spackles over so many problems with this episode and makes it watchable.
Yeah, we're laughing at the episode for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely aged better in terms of watchability, like, because you can really watch it with after you get over your initial disappointments with the episode. You
like,
can just
if you show someone this episode and say, like, this is one of the best science fiction series ever made, everyone praises it, it's always like the baseline for what everyone goes to for Star Trek, no one would believe you. Like, you go from this to Ensigns of Command or Who Watches the Watchers or The Best of Both Worlds, like... Yeah.
Or Offspring, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, I think it's time for our rating. Stars isn't here this week to give us our rating, but I've tasked Auto to give us a rating criteria for this one. So please, Auto, tell me what we are giving this.
All right, gentlemen. How many retired casino decks of isolinear chips out of 10 do you give The Naked Now?
Wow.
Idle, you begin.
I want to give it more than it's worth because I was laughing the whole way through. But I also don't want to give it credit for being any kind of good because it is objectively terrible. And I'm going to have to say... Go on.
Well, we have to circle back around. Like, if it's watchable and you have a good time, that's got to be worth a lot, right?
I don't want to rate it better than episodes that are genuinely good, though. That's the thing. Like, this is a terrible episode. It's full of plot holes. It's really offensive. It is sexually diminishing to women in all angles. I think I kind of have to give it a 2. It gets 2 points. A 2 because it made me laugh, and that's about it, really. Like, the actors enjoyed what they were doing. We were laughing at it, but in the terms of a Trek episode, it's fucking dire.
Actually, you said the actors enjoyed it, so let me quote here from Memory Alpha. According to Will Wheaton, Jonathan Frakes sharply criticized this episode, going so far as to call it the worst segment of TNG he ever did, saying he felt totally ashamed by it. So
because he didn't get to do anything fun. That's why. Because he was a straight man that whole episode.
That could be.
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah, Bill. When I first saw this episode in the 80s, I would have given it like a 3 or a 4 or something. But on this rewatch, I'm going to boost that up to a 7 because it's so kitschy.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's huge because when I would rewatch TNG, like back when it was still on Netflix, and I would just kind of have TNG running in the background, I would always skip this episode. Like I would play Encounter and then skip this and Code of Honor and go to whatever like my next favorite episode was. So it's been a while since I've really sat down and watched this episode, but it's fun, even though it's just a recycled story plot.
I wonder if we give it the benefit of the fact it's fun because the three of us have just watched it with the intent of knowing how bad it was, and we've just been laughing the whole way. If you watch it on your own, if you say to yourself, like, I'm going to do a serious rewatch of all of TNG, do you still not skip it? Do you still watch it?
No, I would rewatch this one. No, so
I don't think I skip any Star Trek. Am I alone in that?
I skip Shades of Grey.
Okay. Well, that's fair because you've seen it all.
Yeah, Shades of Grey is the laziest clip show. I was so mad at Shades of Grey when it came out because you're excited. You're like, oh, I got a new Star Trek coming up, and it's just freaking clip show. Terrible. I actually don't skip Code of Honor anymore just because it's kind of like an object lesson in like what not to do.
Well, yeah, there is that.
Yeah, that being said, knowing we have Code of Honor next, you still give this a 2.
No, I don't. I don't still give this. Like I was saying, I give this a 6 or a 7. Like I'd even give this a 7 because it's.
Yeah, no. I'm asking Idle because on the whole spectrum of 1 to 10, you think this episode is that close to Code of Honor compared to the rest of Trek?
I think I'd have to rewatch it, but I think probably Code of Honor is also getting a pretty low score as well.
I would hope so. All right, I'm with you, Shai. In terms of retired casino decks of isolinear chips, I give this. So if we're starting at a 10, you have to take a point off for the 5-year-old foreplay. That was just
oh my god! Don't say it like that.
And then that's if you watch the episode.
No,
that's what
I
they
know,
do. And then,
but come on.
And then another. Hey, you have me on the show because I'll say what everyone else won't. You know, we don't have any sponsors to lose.
No, people won't say it. Okay.
All right, and so we're down to a 9. And you have to take a point off for the amount of obnoxious Wesley in this episode, which it sort of launched the whole,
so you're
the
saying
whole thing of
from now until season 5, there are no 10 out of 10 episodes.
And you liked his acceptance speech after he made himself captain.
That could have made my best of moments. This dawns a brave new day for the Enterprise. Yeah. All right, so if we're starting at an 8, let's say, and go from there, I'm with you, Shai. I give it a 7.2
Oh, we're getting into points now. Ooh.
Decks of isolinear chips out of 10. I mean, you can give it, maybe the first time you watch it's not as good, and I think we're probably going to have inflated scores from us riffing over it and stuff, but it made me laugh 90% of the episode, except for the part. It was genuinely watchable, and that's what I want in my treks. So.
Like, it's the parts that lose about 20 points for me. Like, if we could do it to minus figures, I would, but, like... if you're talking to 7s and 8s, like coming up to an 8, like I know episodes that are really good, but okay, that I would give a 7. Like if this score's better than some like the Mannheim episode or Ensigns of Command, or like if we could, that just kind of makes me feel a little bit ill. Like,
oh, see, but I'll take funny over boring any day, right? Like a boring episode can be better done, like but it's boring, so
wow. So this is
it's like Shai said, the comedy aged well, I think, and that's what helps it.
Yeah. Okay.
Most of the comedy.
To be continued on
Look,
that.
agree to disagree. That's why we have 3 people voting here.
I'm intrigued to know what Stars would think. I might have to ask him. Like, go rewatch Naked now and tell us what your rating is out of Isolinear Chips.
I want to know what our viewers know, because this is a very variable episode. So put that in the comments. I'm going to read through those.
Yeah. So I think that's our review. A cool, crisp 30 minutes. Our review of The Naked Now. We are going to move on and do another one tonight, I think. So look out for that. But for all our things, please check our YouTube channel and watch out for us on Twitch. We will see you guys later. Ta-ra.